I saw it in a movie that literally changed my life and may have changed some of yours as well. But without further ado, please welcome to the stage, Brian Halloran, Jeff Anderson, everybody, give it up!
What an absolute incredible honor to be immortalized in acrylics here. He is a fucking magician, sorcerer of the third order.
Please put your hands together.
I swear to God. I was just absolutely in awe of your talent then. I'm still in awe of the talent now. The other mad sorcerer that is in the room is works for ZSC. Her name is Maggie Blaine. And why I call her a sorcerer was she was able to conjure up Mr. Jeff Anderson. For Jeff to come back and this be his very first con ever, I said...
I got my cherry busted by several hundred people.
Yeah.
Are you having fun so far? I know it's only been about 24 hours.
No, I'm not.
No fun?
I want to leave immediately.
It was weird because people would always ask me about it. I'm like, why doesn't Jeff do these? I'm like, he hates people, but he loves gatherings. Just a quick heads up, by the way, if you're fans of our movies, you know they're rated R. We can't control some of the questions, so if you're a parent in here with young kids and you don't want that long car ride home explaining about snowballing or donkey shows, you may want to escort them out and bring them over to the pop booth or something like that, because otherwise in a few minutes you're going to be shit out of fucking luck. We have a family leaving now. Thank you. I'm so sorry. We can take your questions personally after the kids go to bed. I always do that warning because there was a con where they actually went on their Facebook page and I can't believe you had that foul-mouthed man up on the thing. And I was like, Mom?
One time this kid came up to me. He was like, hey man, I don't have any money. I really want your autograph. Will you trade me your autograph for 2 joints?
Done.
And I'm done, absolutely. What a fair price. He didn't even start at 1 joint or a half a smoked joint.
I would have followed him home.
Dude, that sounded like the Sublime song, Smoke 2 joints in the morning. Got Ming Chen's autograph.
So yeah, he was like, hold on. He went to the bathroom, he rolled 2 joints, and we did the deal. And,
bathroom rolled joints?
Yes.
Ew. Have a standard, sir.
I haven't seen you in a while. I think the last time I saw you was Zack and Miri premiere, October 2008. We were, after the after party had wrapped up, we'd still been hanging around. I remember you were wearing an Obama shirt, I think, and we were talking about how great the Denver Broncos season was going to be. And I don't know how.
Go Broncos!
Yeah, I don't know how it wound up that season, but
Probably not good.
yeah, it's good to see you here. I just we're all pop culture fans, and Kevin's kind of built this whole world, and I'm glad you're back in with it, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's no Avengers without Captain America or Iron Man.
I have to say, Astronomicon was a good start to this. I have like 6, 7, 8 more of these booked, and you guys have really been kind, and you haven't scared me away. Thank you.
Long-time fan, you guys are awesome.
Right on, bro.
I just wanted to ask, Clerks 3 win?
Oh, that's a Kevin question.
Can we get him on the phone?
No, I'm not your fucking mom.
Good answer.
No, he's on tour with the new Jay and Silent Bob reboot. Once he's done with the tour in February, I think that's when he'll roll up a big fat B and fucking start typing that up. There's also a rumor of a Mallrats too, so we'll see. So trust me, once we know, which is usually through the internet, am I right, Jeff? Yeah. Once we know.
Kevin doesn't tell anybody anything.
Yeah, that's when we get. When we get it.
It's taken a while for him to write the script because he writes it on rolling paper.
What did I do with page 22? Oh, fuck, I smoked page 22.
I imagine he's been working really quick lately, though, and I get death has been a very good motivator, I guess. So,
wow, this went dark pretty fucking quickly.
Oh, the man almost died. That's
well, he almost died and shit, and that changes your life sometimes.
Yeah, you accelerate your timetable.
Oh, I get it.
What's your favorite thing about Kevin as a director?
He's really laid back. I am not an actor, and I know, surprise. He really takes his time with me, and he's just chill. The whole set is chill. It's we do a scene, we have our dialogue, and then you hear him way off in the back screaming out shit to say, try this. Everything has fuck in it, and it's just a lot of fun working with him.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. It's not every day that you get to show up at work and your boss says, all right, this is what I want you to do. I want you to sit on that swing. My wife is going to straddle you. Where you're guys going to make out while I film you. Go.
And that's called Thursday night.
Right, exactly. And then the next night, it's like, all right, so here's what we're gonna do. This donkey, we're gonna have a guy blow a donkey in front of you. We're gonna just film your reactions. Go. I mean, literally, for Clerks 2 is the most fun I've ever been on a set. I mean, because every day it was a different thing. Today we're doing a donkey show. Tonight we're doing, go-karts. And next day we're doing a big dance routine on the roof. And the next thing is you're making out with my wife. And then we're going to finish off with you making out with Rosario Dawson. I'm like, and I'm getting paid? That's awesome. So it's always chill. Working even on the new reboot, we shot it down in New Orleans, which if you're gonna fucking do a party movie, that's the place to do it. And it was during not only Mardi Gras, but the month of March, so it was St. Patrick's Day as well. So that's like gasoline on a tire fire.
In New Orleans.
In New Orleans. So, and it was weird because they built the entire storefront in New Orleans, and I was just like, what? And so me and Kevin, for the first 20 minutes of that morning, like, I can't believe how fucking crazy this looks. And so it's fun, and I can't wait to work with him again. But thank you for the question.
The original Clerks was filmed in the actual RST Video Quick Stop store out of necessity. How weird is it going to be when you guys have to step back into the store, but this time it's a sound stage somewhere, potentially?
I don't know. We don't know that yet. Kevin would like to shoot it in the store again. I know the owners are still the original owners from even when we shot it back in '93. And so, yeah, exactly. Wow.
Store actually doesn't make money. They just charge Kevin millions.
It's a good business model.
That's why we make none. And so, yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. That's still a point to be figured out.
Do you guys got like a favorite scene or dialogue that you guys like to share?
Jeff?
My favorite scene was always in the original Clerks ordering the porno movies. I knew at some time we were filming that, we never thought anybody was going to see it, but I knew at some point my mother was going to watch this thing. And I remember before we started, it was in the script, and I'm going, Kev, could we dial back some of the names of these things? And he took the piece of paper and he said, yeah, let me cross some of these names off. We set up the camera and everything else. He said, are you ready to go? We actually had them written down. He handed the paper back to me, and there were 5 new titles. Fuck.
As far as me, favorite lines and stuff like that, one of the ones I like to write, and it's usually for female guests, is try not to suck any dick on the way through the parking lot. I really feel bad because Marilyn Gigliotti, who played Veronica, I mean, she gets that request a lot. Or some fans will just see us walking through the hotel or the parking lot and say, hey, try not to suck any dick on the way through the parking lot. Now, if you're not a fan or aware of anything at all about the Viewers universe, and you see this happen, what did you just say to that young lady? You apologize, young man. I am so sorry. Who raised you? And she's just like, don't worry about it. So that's the one, like, I always feel like weird, like, I feel bad for her. Because the people like, do you get sick of hearing you're not even supposed to be here today? And I'm like, it could be worse. It could be Veronica.
At what point in the original movie do you guys feel the story just completely jumps the rails into insanity?
Of which movie?
Of the first Clerks. For me, it's when you get pelted by cigarettes, because at that point, all immersion's broken. It's just, this is nonsense and magical, and I want to live here.
You've obviously never worked at a convenience store in New Jersey.
Yeah.
I work in a Meijer
that's a
here
Friday.
on third shift. It's about the same, shockingly enough.
I don't find, when it got off the rails for...
I think I was okay until Caitlin fucked a dead guy.
Yeah, that... I would agree with him on that one. That's a little like, really? Because, I got to hear something from somebody if that's going to happen, Thanks for the bizarre question. All right.
But again, that's like a Saturday in Jersey at a convenience store, so...
Yeah, right.
This
How's
one's
it
for
going?
Jeff. Hey, Jeff. One of my favorite scenes from Clerks 2 is the Star Wars versus Lord of the Rings debate. Was that completely ad-libbed, or was that actually scripted?
It was scripted. The basis of it was scripted, and as we were doing it, we were kind of making shit up. I think, what was it? They're not gay, they're hobbits. That one just kind of happened.
I always get that to ask me if a fan says, so what do you think? You know, trilogy Star Wars or trilogy? I'm like, it's all fucking fantasy, dude. When you think about it, like, there's the people who go like Star Wars or Star Trek. I'm like, I don't know. It's not real.
Fuck that Star Wars.
I enjoy it all.
I know that you guys did a charity reading of Clerks 3.
That's right.
then Kevin had his heart attack, and then he's like, I'm going to rewrite it and completely revise it. But that original version of Clerks 3 that is not going to be made he said himself that it was very dark. What was your guys' takes on it? Was it dark? Was it funny? Was it...
Well, when it was first written, which was about 6 years or 7 years ago, there was a lot of things going on in the country that was dark in general, which I think influenced his writing. And so the first iteration of that script was kind of dark, but what was kind of fun, even Jeff and I had discussed this on the phone. I was like, I don't know about this scene with blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, man, I don't know either. And then when the production company that was being involved and things got kind of haywire, and then we decided to not be a part of it anymore.
When I got kind of haywire.
That script just sat and stuff, and just that darkness just stayed with it. And then when Kevin had his heart attack and stuff, and then saw a different kind of light in front of him in a tunnel, and we were like, don't go into the light.
No, not yet. It's not your time.
He came out with a better idea of what he wanted to do with it, and he gave us a treatment as to what he wants to do with the new script. So that script just sat there for years. And then the original theater a playhouse that we had all auditioned at in Atlantic Highlands, which is still in operation today, called the First Avenue Playhouse, they've been looking to update their lights and their sound and everything. It's been there for over 30 years, this theater. So Kevin decided, hey, I'm going to do one for the town and offer 2 readings of 100 seats each of us doing a table read of that script. So it was me, Kevin, Brian Johnson, Ernie O'Donnell, my girlfriend Diana Devlin, and then Kim Lochran as well, and then Marilyn Gigliotti came in from LA. And we did 2 readings of it, and it was really dark. And what was funny was, if people who've seen Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, there's about 5 or 6 things that were part of the Clerks 3 script that made it into the reboot. Not for spoilers, but when there's that twist at the Chronic Con that happens with one of the characters, that was kind of built into what the Clerks, there was something that was going to happen at a Clerks 3 script that was kind of similar in nature. And so that's where the darkness was. Plus, us as characters had their lives turn in a very dark way. We became the Joker and Harley Quinn. No, everybody got so quiet. I was like, I have to get up again. So that script hopefully will get done in either a graphic novel form, or maybe he'll do an animated version of it. Or we're talking about maybe taking that script reading and taking it to different cities to raise more money for that theater. But that was talked out in a very foggy haze and a post-show, like, this was awesome, let's take it on the road. Meanwhile, we still had another film to make. So,
Jeff, you just said when you went haywire, and I know to a lot of people out here and to the public at large it looked that way. But even now, Kevin has been saying you are more integral to the integrity of these characters in this story than maybe you realize, because you wanted to make sure the fans were never disappointed in what you were presenting. And I think we need a round of applause, because without this man, he might have put both these guys in walrus suits, and we don't need that.
You didn't like the Walrus movie?
I love the walrus movie, but it's not Clerks.
Okay,
that's why
fair
it's
enough.
not Clerks. It's Tusk.
I can't believe I just got a round of applause for not doing the movie.
I told them to take it easy on you, Jeff.
And they are.
My question is about Clerks animated series. When you were recording that, did you record it in studio altogether? And if so, do you have any interesting stories about non-Clerks guest stars or something that were just blown away by the content that you were recording?
Jeff and most of the guys already lived in California. I was still living in the New York area, so they flew me out and put me up at a hotel and stuff. Jay was literally still in rehab, and we got him out of rehab and we put him in a hotel to be part of the recording. So every week, Dave Mandel, who was the showrunner of Veep, and he was also a writer for SNL, and he was also a producer for Seinfeld. He was the co-creator with Kevin for the Clerks animated and head writer. And so every week we'd have a table read on Monday, an adjustment for Tuesday, another read on Wednesday, and then we'd start recording Thursday and Friday. And that's how it would go for like the first 2 weeks. Then we had a bit of a setback with the studio was like, we're having issues with these scripts. And then they flew me back and then flew me back again, and then we finished them. And we made 6, thinking that we were going to have them all air, and then it's going to be a huge hit, and then we're going to move on away. As far as the guest stars question, we recorded our dialogue together. We were always in the studio together, and then the guest stars would come in later on. Yeah. We never had interactions with the guest stars, but some of the guest stars were just super awesome, like Mario Joyner and Michael McKean and tons of people.
One of the things that always killed me about people coming in, we had Michael Buffer came on. If you don't know him, he was the announcer for boxing matches for many years.
Let's get ready to rumble guy.
Yeah.
He came in there, and I went out in the waiting room, and he was wearing a tux. I was like, you do know this isn't a fight, right?
And it's recording your voice. Like, no one's seeing you. But it was really cool that, this was during a time, per episode, it was $250,000 per episode, which was an insane budget for an animated series. Like, people were always saying, like, do it like South Park. And South Park, I think, was like 50 to 100,000 at max for everything. But it was also computer and hand emotion and stuff like that at the time. Computer animation wasn't really at its peak back in 2000. So it got a little expensive. Nowadays, it would be real simple to do. Folks are doing phenomenal fucking animation just out of their own home computers these days. And so I think now if we came back to it, it'd be awesome. I know that there is a showrunner now that has 2 incredibly successful shows on ABC Network. And since ABC has the actual rights to do the cartoon, he's in talks with Kevin about doing it again. And that's something like more like a 2022 thing that we would get that started if we go. So if we do a Clerks 3 and that goes really well and you guys come out in force and give us like, fucking Endgame kind of numbers.
Yeah, it's very simple.
That's
very
not hard
simple.
to ask.
No, not at all.
If you can watch fucking Tony Stark go like this like 10 times, you can watch us at least 4. That'd be enough to push us over. Oh, spoiler alert with the whole Tony Stark thing. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. I know.
For those who
Sorry, nerds.
For those who didn't see it. But yeah, we would love to come back to that. I think that's a great thing. To be honest with you, him standing in front of you is a huge sign and a great start and first step.
Yeah. All right.
Being on the road all these years and meeting fans and not having Jeff and not having a Randall to bounce off of has always been great. People always go like, hey man, do you guys like live near each other? I'm like, no, we come out when the movies are done. Between the first movie and the second movie was like 7 or 9 years since we had been interacting, and we came in and Kevin had booked a whole month of rehearsals for Clerk 2. And they flew me out to LA and put me up in this apartment and stuff. And we just did 2 days of rehearsals. And Kevin's like, fuck, you guys are it. You're done. Because the back and forth is just so natural, which was so awesome.
Could you and Jeff talk about the Clerks 2 jail scene where you both got all your issues out on the table yet again?
That's all him. You start that one.
I thought that was Jeff's finest moment.
That was something with me not being an actor. When I read that in the script, I was scared to death. And we did rehearsals for it, and we never rehearsed that scene. I told Kevin, you're going to get emotion from me once. We cannot keep doing this scene. So when I think we rehearsed it actually once with the cameras, and then we rolled on it.
Yeah.
Scary moment for me, scary.
But for me, completely heartfelt. We needed more time after the word cut than we were on. So I was like, I need a minute. I'm just, all right, that was beautiful, man. And it was one of the, it was, yeah. And it literally was, I think, the last day or second to last thing we shot was that. We left that all.
That was actually the last night. That was my last night.
Right,
I think
it was.
you still have more to shoot, but that was my last night.
Yeah. So it was kind of emotional in that way, too, like we were wrapping it up. So it was a good, month or so of shooting, and all that tiredness and worked into both characters, and it was a great way to end it, too. And I know you and Kev collabed on how that should have went, which was great.
What was it like recording all the scenes with Porch Monkey in it?
Well, what's really funny is when we have a lot of African American fans that come up, and they always come up, and there's always one African American fan that's like, "Yo, man, that porch monkey scene, I'm like, here it goes. I'm getting punched in the face. And then they go, oh, man, that shit is so funny, man. By the way, that's my African-American impersonation. I know I'm going to be blasted because I'm like, what's with the deep voice? I'm like, because I'm scared that I'm not doing it right.
It's so accurate.
I always love it and stuff like that. And I see people walking around with that movie shirt with they've done the tape as well. And I'm like, you're a brave motherfucker with that one. Because I know you ain't walking downtown in Detroit with that shit on.
In the first Clerks, when you go into the funeral and you eventually find out that the casket gets knocked over, did you have any idea when they were to make the lost scene, like all the other events that went down? Were you informed of any of that beforehand?
I know they actually approached Paulson's funeral parlor, the actual funeral parlor, and talked to the owner of it about doing that. And they were like, well, we don't know. This is a place of mourning and sacristy and blah, blah, blah. Let's read the script. And I think they read it and like, absolutely not. So it was one of the early mornings before we had one of the very few outside daylight shots, like the hockey on the roof and stuff scene. And it was super cold that morning. And I remember us joining, going, all right, this is what we're going to do. So there it is down the block. We're going to pull up. You guys, we're going to jump out of the car with the camera. You guys are going to get out, do that line, walk up, and then we're going to just have him move around and then just run right at us. And I think we just did one take. Because we literally saw someone in the upstairs, I think you can kind of see it in the film, like move the curtain, like what's going on? And then there's the scene where the family comes out and they're like, oh, you son of a... And our friend Ed, who's the hockey guy, is like, hey, can I get a free Gatorade in the Devils jersey? We put him in a skirt and a woman's jacket and with his long hair from behind, he looked like a woman like this. But it's Ed, the dude who played hockey on the roof with us.
He looks very feminine from behind.
I can imagine, okay, blah, 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 whatever the owner of Paulson's funeral parlor is going on. But then they go, what's with the dude in the dress?
Yeah, it's a lesson for any of you kids out there or filmmakers. Don't ask for permission. Just shoot it.
Well, that's the thing about LA. Everybody is so self-aware about if they see a camera, like, oh, where's your permit? You were shooting my lawn. That's $4,000. While everywhere else in the world, they're like, well, yeah, shoot whatever you want. But I'm glad we got to animate it with the guys from Powerhouse Studios to animate the lost scene for the 10-year anniversary thing, which was great, because then we got Joey Lauren Adams back to do the voiceover of her character. My girlfriend played the voice of the mother who gets all upset, and it was good to go in the studio, and it was during the recording of that audio for the 10-year anniversary of the DVD that Kevin approached us both and going, hey man, I want to do a Clerks 2. So it was kind of like a bonus moment for us as well.
So one of the things that I always liked was the flying car, short. Just any information about how that came about or stories involving that?
Are you from the Ford Motor Company, sir? I know we're in Detroit. The flying car, that was fun.
I don't remember it.
Were you guys in a parking lot in New Jersey somewhere?
Yeah, it was a parking lot of a church, like a Baptist church or something like that. And with the woods behind us, and you got all the crew to put their cars behind us, it looked like a typical summer afternoon going down to the Jersey Shore on the Garden State Parkway where it's bumper to fucking bumper traffic. So it was a good setup for Kevin to do that script. And if anybody doesn't know the flying car sketch, it's a bonus on the extras of the DVDs of Clerks and I think the Clerks X one. Kevin was commissioned by the Ford Motor Company to write an inspirational video film to inspire their design teams and everybody at Ford to think above what normal, car making is. So Kevin wrote this sketch about Dante and Randal stuck in traffic, and Randal's like, how come we don't have the flying car yet? And then I was like, what do you mean? And then he goes on this whole tirade about what would you do for the flying car, one being, would I be anally raped by a German scientist, I believe?
That is correct.
And then would I cut my ankle, foot off at the ankle for it? Would he diddle your peenie? I think was one of the phrases.
You said peenie.
Yeah.
Peenie. Kevin made you
So
say
you can imagine just reading that, and you're the Ford Motor Company, that you're going to show your entire design team at their yearly retreat up here to inspire everybody. And they were like, yeah, no, I'm so sorry. We thought you were M. Night Shyamalan. I'm sorry. So he didn't want to get rid of the script, so he still wanted to make the short. It was made very cheaply, and he then was doing these shorts for Jay Leno at the time, who was still on The Tonight Show. And he offered it to Jay. He's like, hey, man, can I show this short, which I think is like 5 or 6 minutes at most. And he was like, yeah, whatever you want to do, Kev, I'm cool with it.
Hey, cars, I like cars.
That was my African-American impersonation. No, just kidding. So it was that moment that Jay Leno said yes, and we were on The Tonight Show, technically.
I'm a fan of anything Kevin puts in the car. We had sucking your own dick and then diddling your peenie.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the car scenes.
Yeah. Me driving around looking for Rosario Dawson and seeing Kevin's daughter in the window, very emotional moment. It's a good car scene.
So more car scenes in Clerks 3 then.
Becky's character tearing off in her Mustang.
Yes.
That's another good car scene.
Yes. You pulling up to the quick stops
Yeah.
on fire.
I
Yeah,
think
more.
we just found the next Furious. Fast
Oh
and
yeah, the
Furious.
franchise. This is a franchise, man.
Clerks and Furious.
There, Clerks and Furious Clerks. It's just Randall. I'm so furious.
This is a question for Jeff. I'm a big fan of your movie Now You Know, and
I love you.
All right, my man.
There you go.
My man.
I was
That's
wondering
my brother.
how it came about for you to write and direct your own movie, and if you think you'll ever do it again.
Yeah, that was just something I was playing around with. I wrote the script thinking that it would never see the light of day. And I met some guys in California that were looking to make their first movie. They were actually from Chicago. And they got the funding and everything for it. It made it real easy on me. And it is the sort of, I go back and forth with this business. Sometimes I want to be in it, sometimes I don't. But having agreed to do Clerks 3, I also started writing something new. So I'd like to see something happen.
What do you enjoy more, the acting element or the directing and the writing? Which part do you like better?
Just the writing. The directing, I don't really know how to do that or act, so the writing is best for me.
I remember you telling me years ago about what your second movie was going to be, and I thought it was an incredibly clever idea.
Obviously, there's a lot of footage out there, stuff that got cut, B-sides, stuff like that, bloopers. Is there anything that you've all filmed or filmed together that you wish people would have seen, but hit the cutting room floor?
There was a scene in the original Clerks where we only got beginning footage, where Randall borrows Dante's car to go to the good video store. And so the scene you see him and he falls to his knees with the beautiful music going around. There was a whole scene that we shot where Randall interacts with a absolutely perfectly helpful and informative clerk, video store clerk, and he's just like weirded out about it. And it was like a good 3-minute scene with Vinny Pereira, who played the clerk. But unfortunately, the metal mag that clicks into the camera with the film had a hairline crack in it, and it exposed that reel of film. So it never got
Vinny's
developed.
right here. He's right there.
Holy shit, Vince Pereira, everybody. Get up here.
Oh, right here.
Get up here. Oh, I forgot you moved up here. That's right.
Long time no see. Wow.
Holy shit. Everybody knows Vince Pereira, right? Come on. He wrote, directed his film, A Better Place. Have you ever seen that? It's a great film as well. But it's good to see you, brother.
Good to see you guys.
He was a customer in the original Clerks. Like, hey, I hear Caitlin's getting married to an Asian design major. That's him right there, and plus other roles as well. So yeah, that scene between the two of them, I thought was, because I was there in the store to watch it. It was brilliantly done.
Yeah, it was a funny scene. It wasn't the camera that was broken; it was the sound.
Oh, was the sound?
Yeah. We just couldn't get the sound recorded.
What?
And
You do it fucking Jackie Chan style, man.
Yeah, we could have dubbed it.
How is everything? Oh my God. Everything's great.
Yeah. Scott was trying to fix the Nagra, but he couldn't get it fixed, so we ended up not shooting the scene, but we rehearsed it. The coolest thing was my character's name was Chet, and it was and I did the line from Barton Fink, where I was like, "My name is Chet. I'll be your rental attendant for this evening." And I handed him like a business card to have my name on it. So.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I thought I could have sworn we filmed
I
it.
wish
Maybe
that
it was
scene was in
rehearsing.
there.
Was it rehearsed? You
We
rehearsing?
rehearsed it.
Oh,
We rehearsed
okay. So
it.
I watched rehearsal. Well, there you go. That's the one scene I wish we had saw because I thought it was brilliant. So good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
That was
Thanks.
such a nice surprise. It's like old home week. Right here, right up front.
Yeah, we don't mess with the reunions here at Aston.
No, dude, really. Like, and then coming in, it's the actual donkey from Clerks 2.
Give it up, everybody.
His name's Kelly.
Funny fact, the real name of that donkey was called Asphalt. Remember? And that was like 2 words, like asphalt, like a crack. It's like, no, like the road. I'm like, oh, okay.
A lot of times you go on Facebook or social media and you see people arguing about whatever
No,
politics.
people argue on the
People
internet?
It's amazing.
Tell
isn't
me
it?
about this.
I'm telling you, I've seen
Go
it.
ahead.
So I will go on there and just do a line, like type in a line from Clerks, like Olaf Berserker.
Totally derails the conversation.
Everything. They start.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it's just funny, and then people just stop arguing and they start saying, "Would you like to suck my cock, Berserker?" Funny. It's just
Clerks, bringing the world together.
Right.
Exactly. There you go.
You should be nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, sir. Why are you not with Jared Kushner in Israel negotiating that peace accord? Could you imagine that? So I think the settlements that you have on the Golan Heights is not that right. And you just walk in, my love for you is like a truck. Okay, I think we can come to agreement. Here we go. I love this man.
I don't have a question. Just wondering, Jeff, could you do the Wrangler?
Oh, the Wrangler.
I'd need a little more CBD.
That is one of the funniest points of the big dance scene in Clerks 2 is when Randall's on the counter and doing the whole Randall across the counter.
Well, I remember when we shot that, Kevin wanted me to do that, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that. It's old. And the first time we went to a test screening, people like applauded that.
Right.
And Kevin was like, I told you, quit questioning me.
Don't you realize that my whole career is just repeating the exact same thing again and again and again? Fuck, if it works for Star Wars, why not me? Let's blow up another Death Star.
So I was wondering where the whole gum in the locks thing came from. Was that written in, or did you guys just ad-lib that? 'Cause that shit cracks
I
me
think
up.
that's something that actually happened to Kevin because he worked that store. So I think it's something
Yeah, I
like
think
that,
it was
right?
from that, and plus you guys shot at night, so the shutters had to be.
Well,
down
yeah, I mean, the
anyway,
reason that it was written in is because we were shooting at night and we couldn't afford lights to shoot daylight outside the store. So it was a good plot device to do it. But I think it really
I think
did
you're right.
happen.
It was something that was constantly happening.
And if anybody who saw the Jay and Silent Bob reboot, now the circle is complete. I'm not going to spoil it for those who haven't, which, by the way, I do have Blu-ray copies at my table. So.
Yeah, it's for sale. He'll sign them for you.
Yeah, they're signed for $35. It's actually a steal of a deal. Every time I went into Walmart, I'm like, okay. And the guy's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm in it. I'm like, oh, okay, here you go.
Hey, how'd you guys originally get involved with Kevin? Were you friends? Was there like an audition for the first Clerks?
I had compromising photos of him. No, I auditioned. Jeff, you went to school,
Yeah,
right?
I went to school with Kevin. We were graduated the same year, and we knew each other in school.
That theater I talked about where we raised money by reading the Clerks 3 script, First Avenue Playhouse, I was doing theater acting at the time. I was like three or 4 years into it, and I'd worked at that theater. And the owner had called me, and this is before the internet and everybody had cell phones. So you actually had to go home and call someone from your home phone. And so kids ask your grandparents about it. Anyway, so the owner called me a month earlier going, these guys are doing a film down in the area, and they were using the theater to audition at. You're about the age range of what they're looking for. You should come down and audition. I was like, when is it? Next month. Now, I was already working at another theater doing another show at the time. The auditions were Sunday night and a Monday night, and Sunday literally a month went by, and I just totally forgot. So Monday morning, the guy called the house again saying, Brian, I thought you were coming to the audition. I'm like, oh, I totally forgot. That's another one tonight. It's like, yeah. I'm like, what do they need? They're like, well, just a headshot and a resume. I'm like, all right, cool. Or no, a headshot and a monologue. I'm like, okay. So I head down there, asked Vincent, who was doing the videotaping at the time, I said, how many principal characters are there? And you're like, oh, there's 6, but they're already cast. I'm like, oh. He's like, yeah, tonight's just extras. I'm like, oh, okay. Filled it out, and it was weird because Kevin had a survey kind of thing. Like he had, when you filled it out, like he asked you, what's your last film you saw, who's your favorite director, like kind of questions that at a normal audition, like, what? What's this? And it was like, what's your blood type? I was like, what's going on here? And so then I went up there and I auditioned, and if anybody has the 10-year anniversary, the Clerks X edition, one of the extra DVDs has all of our auditions on it. And I did this, I put a monologue together of a dialogue scene of a show that I did with Marilyn Gigliotti at that other theater called Wait Until Dark. And it was a very stupid audition. It was very dark and brooding. I played the kind of the bad guy in that play. I even turned my back to the camera. It was like the worst, like everything you could do wrong in an audition I did. But for some reason, Kevin's like, dude, if I had a villain in this movie, he'd be perfect. And so I guess he thought, if I could do this villainous role, then I could do some sort of sappy Jersey Clark. And so he had me come back twice to do a reading opposite him, which we went to the Leonardo Recreational Center for. And we read the independent contractor scene of the Death Star. So I read the Dante role, he read the Randal lines, and he's like, what do you think? I'm like, oh, this is funny. And I was like, great, do you feel like doing it? I'm like, sure. Then I said, who are they in the film? He goes, oh, well, the film is called Clerks, and these are the two main guys. And I was like, oh, the guy who was videotaping said that you had the principal casts and everything. He goes, yeah, don't worry about that. And next thing you know, I had the next callback read was to read opposite Marilyn Gigliotti for like a chemistry read, I guess, or whatever, and that was it.
Thank you. Is that all we have time for?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we got to wrap this up to bring the Haunted Highons panel. I wish we could go another 2 hours with you three gentlemen.
I hear you, but one thing I'm going to do is everybody just stay in your seats right now. I just want to jump on the stage here and take a selfie where we're facing the camera this way to have all y'all in the shot. Is that cool, you guys?
Absolutely.
All right.
Make some noise for Dante and Randal effing Green!